Hello student, this is Rahul Patil and we are going to discuss the next topic in centrifugal compressor, that is TS diagram. Up till now we have covered about the centrifugal compressor, its construction and working, then velocity triangle analysis. In that we have derived a formula for work done by impeller and mass flow rate. After that we have just started in previous videos, that is thermodynamic analysis. In that we have discussed about static and total heat properties, TS diagram. uh, Today we will start with the TS diagram, then isentropic efficiency and work done and remaining performance parameters. Again we have to study the effect of blade angles and what is meant by this pre-whirling in the centrifugal compressor, its need and its method. Okay, so in thermodynamic analysis of centrifugal compressor, we have to deal with the static and stagnation properties. Static properties are those properties at normal condition, that may be the pressure, that may be the temperature, and stagnation properties are those properties when fluid is brought to the rest by some means. And if you measure the properties like pressure, temperature, then it's called as stagnation properties or total head properties. We have done some energy balance equation, maybe the Bernoulli's equation for the pressure calculation, or steady flow energy equation for temperature, that is static and stagnation temperature. From this static and stagnation properties, now we have to study the TS diagram for the centrifugal compressor. First of all, we have to just understand what is a notation for this diagram. We have to denote this particular stagnation property by means of 01 or 02 or 03, like means stagnation temperature T01, T02, T03, or stagnation pressure P01, P02 likewise. These are the standard notation for the stagnation properties. Then normal properties, normal temperature and pressure, we have to simply denote by T1, P1, T2, P2 likewise. It is also called as the static properties, which are the actual properties with actual losses, frictional losses, turbulence losses, leakage losses like. Then we are having some standard properties also. Okay, without losses, it may be called as isentropic processes, isentropic properties, and it is denoted by the dash, by putting the dash, that is T1 dash, T2 dash, T3 dash, or P3 dash, P2 dash like. Okay, these are the notation. Now just look at the parts or this configuration of the centrifugal compressor. Okay, we know that the 1 point shows the inlet of the impeller, the 2 point shows the outlet of the impeller and the inlet of diffuser section, and the 3 point shows the outlet of the diffuser. Then through the suction pipe, the air gets sucked inside this impeller at the eye of the compressor, and at this point air enters in the impeller. So due to the rotation of this impeller, the energy imparted on the particular air, and it will rise in pressure and kinetic energy of that air. Then that air is passed through the diffuser vanes, and due to the increase in sudden area at diffuser, the air pressure get again increases. Okay, some of you may have question again, why with the increasing area pressure get increases, because it's a compressible fluid, but we are dealing with the Mach number less than 1, and we know that normal incompressible fluid like water and compressible fluid with Mach number less than 1, the pressure and velocity variation are the same. And this part already we have discussed at a time studying of the steam nozzle in steam turbine. Please revise it. Then the 3 point is the outlet of the diffuser section. Now why this pressure, inlet pressure, that is P01 and T01 showing as a stagnation properties? Because this P01 and T01 are the atmospheric pressure and temperature of the air, and this P1 and T1 and V1 are the properties of air at the inlet of the impeller. Okay, stagnation property are those properties at which fluid is brought to the rest or considered to be rest. If you look at the properties of the air or the velocity of the air at the impeller side, at outlet of the impeller or at the outlet of the diffuser, definitely there the velocity is quite higher than the atmospheric velocity of the air, because while studying the construction and working we have already discussed the pressure and velocity variation of the air. In that it is clearly shown that the V3 velocity is more than the V1. So once that particular air enter in the impeller, the both velocity and pressure get increases. So as compared to the atmospheric condition, the flow velocity of air inside the compressor is more. That's why we can say, in other words, the atmospheric or ambient condition or the flow velocity out of the compressor are the negligible. Hence the property outside the compressor can be considered as the stagnation properties. That's why the ambient pressure and temperature is given by the stagnation properties, that is P01 and T01. Okay, then this P1 and T1 or P2 or T2 are the static properties, because at suction side also they are having certain velocity, and outlet of the impeller also there is a velocity. Then P3 and T3 are the temperature and pressure at the outlet of the diffuser. Definitely before this particular air is getting collected with cylinder at which we have to store the compressed air, at that time even at point 3 also we are having certain velocity of the air, and after some time it will automatically get settled and velocity getting decreases in the reservoir. So this 03 point shows the collector or volute casing. So in that collector over here the velocity of air are again negligible than the diffuser and impeller section. So the velocity or property at the 03 section are the stagnation property again. So we can say the P01 are the initial pressure and this P03 are the delivery pressure. Okay, from which we are actually doing some application. Suppose I have to compress air to drive some tool in workshop, means compress air tools, or we can call it as pneumatic tools. Then we can use this pressure over there, that is P03 pressure. Okay, now coming back to our TS diagram, we have to show this process, whatever is happening inside this particular compressor we have to show on the TS diagram. TS diagram is basically temperature and entropy diagram. Temperature is the thermal condition of that air, and its entropy shows the disturbance in that system. With increasing temperature, the entropy is getting increases, and from basic thermodynamic principle, if entropy is getting increases, the work input also getting increases, because naturally every system try to attain an equilibrium, means at the steady state, but due to the friction or input of energy, that system getting unstable. Okay, so to make that particular system stable, we have to supply the more amount of work, and if the entropy increases, the work input also getting increases. So on TS diagram, on y-axis we are having the temperature, and x-axis we are having the entropy, and in between that we can see here the different pressure line. This is a P1 pressure line, this is a P2 pressure, P01 pressure line, this is a P2 pressure line, this is a P3 pressure line, again the P03 pressure line, again P02 pressure line. Okay, so one condition we have to remember, with increasing, if you move from this particular in upward side, the pressure getting increases. Okay, if you are moving from this P1 pressure line to P02 pressure line, the pressure getting increases because it is a upward scale or vertical scale is positive for this one. Okay, now The P01 is the atmospheric pressure and this P1 is the inlet pressure to the impeller. But this atmospheric pressure is shown above the P1 pressure line. Means P1 pressure is less than P01 pressure, that is atmospheric pressure. Why this is so? Because 01 and 0121 process show the suction of the air. Okay, so to suck the air from atmospheric or to draw the air from atmospheric to the impeller, the P1 pressure, this P1 inlet to the impeller pressure should be less than the P01 pressure. Again, the basic fluid mechanics principle: fluid always flow from high pressure to the low pressure. So P01 should be higher than the P1. Then and then air can enter to the impeller, because we can see P1 T1 condition at the inlet of the impeller. Means P01 to 1 is the from outside condition, that is ambient condition, to the inlet of the impeller condition. This process show that part. Okay, but 01 to 1 in this diagram shown as a vertical line, means there is a constant entropy, there is a no loss, because in this suction pipe we are not imparting any energy, so there is a friction losses assumed to be negligible. That's why there is entropy is also constant. So we have to show 01 to 1 line is a straight line. Then from this P1 pressure line at the impeller, due to the energy imparted by the impeller, the pressure now getting increases from 1 to 2. Okay, and in the impeller action there is a friction losses also, there is a leakage losses also. That's why we have to show this complete line, that is inclined line, P1 to P2 pressure line, and the pressure now increase from P1 to P2. And again from this S1, that is entropy at point 1 and entropy at point 2, means S1 and S2, means this is a at this point somewhere S1, at this point somewhere S2, entropy also getting increases due to the friction. Again from 2 to 3 is what? Diffuser section. We can see this 2 point to 3 point is the diffuser section operation. In diffuser also pressure again getting increases, so again the pressure increase from this P2 pressure line to the P3 pressure line. Again in diffuser section also, in diffuser section we know that there is a stationary vanes with increasing area, and we can say when that particular air acting with that vanes, there is again some friction losses or losses occur. That's why again the entropy getting increases from S2 to S3. Okay, and along with the increase in pressure. Now after the diffuser, means P3, that is static value, this particular compressed air or pressurized air get collected in the reservoir at P03. Okay, but while collecting the compressed air from this diffuser outlet to the that collector side, there is again no energy being imparted over there. Okay, so that there is a vertical line, so there is no entropy getting changed from 3 to 03, but pressure getting increases some at some extent. So our final delivery pressure will be what? P03 line. Now from P01 pressure line to P03 pressure line, it's a actual process one. P01 to P1, P1 to P2, and P2 to P3, and next P3 to P03 are the actual process, means by considering the losses. Okay, we have to define the now isentropic or ideal process, means without friction, without losses. Okay, so ideally P01 to 1 there is a no loss. Okay, 1 to tone we cannot means avoid that loss over there. Okay, in impeller there must be some losses, but at diffuser section somehow we can manage by polishing that vanes or by putting that particular at particular angle at diffuser vane, we can manage that losses to minimize it. And if you consider at the outlet of impeller, we will get the somewhat increasing pressure without losses, means instead of the pressure getting increased from 2 to 3, okay, then 3 to 03, then in ideal case without losses, the pressure without losses means what? There should be the entropy will be the constant. Okay, so the pressure first of all increase from 2 to 3 dash. Why 3 dash? It's an actual process, sorry, it's an ideal process, that's why the 3 dash means pressure directly increase with by considering the losses at outlet of the impeller and inlet of the diffuser to the outlet of the diffuser, means actual 3 is the 3 is the actual outlet of the diffuser, and this 3 dash is the ideal or isentropic outlet of the diffuser by considering the no loss, means no losses is there. Then 3-2, again in the collector section there is a increasing pressure to the 02, means we can see with losses we are getting the P03 pressure, and without losses we are getting the P02 pressure, and P02 pressure is more than the P03 pressure, means due to the losses there is a decrease in pressure from P02 to P03. So we are having now two process from 01 to 1, 1 to 2, and 2 to 3, and 3 to 03, and we are having the actual operation also, ideal operation also, means isentropic operation also, 01 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3 dash, and 3 to 02 dash. Okay, some may say that we can take directly also, means 01 to 1, then 1 to 2 dash, 2 dash to 03 dash. Okay, likewise also we can take it. So we have to dealing with the two process, one is actual process and one is the actual process, and one is the ideal process. Okay, this is the ideal process. So accordingly we have to define the two efficiency also, and before defining the efficiency we need to understand what is this V1 square by 2 Cp, V3 square by 2 Cp, and V2 square by 2 Cp. Already we have discussed while means explaining that point static and stagnation temperatures. These are the basically the kinetic energy equivalent of the temperature, means at the expense of this kinetic energy equivalent we are getting the first of all increasing pressure, and due to increasing pressure we are getting there is increasing what, there is increasing temperature also. We have just shown over here. Okay, so this is a TS diagram. I hope you understood this TS diagram. Now next one, we have to define now isentropic efficiency and isentropic work done or simply work done. Okay, so isentropic efficiency can be defined as isentropic work upon actual work. From the figure we can see in the first TS diagram we have shown the inlet casing, impeller and diffuser section, and in second TS diagram we have just shown the inlet pressure of the impeller to the outlet pressure of the impeller. We have not shown the diffuser section over here. Okay, but while defining the isentropic efficiency we have to consider this all part, that is inlet casing, impeller, diffuser, but some of the cases we can use this diagram also. It is just to understand what is the actual and isentropic process. Okay, if you see the pressure of the air at the impeller inlet from 1 to 2 is increased actually, and this 1 to 2 dash is the isentropic process of compression, and we can see there is a hash portion over here, this one. This is actually increase in work due to the friction, shock losses and turbulence. Okay, means extra amount of work we have to supply to compensate these losses. Okay, and to compress the air at desired pressure and desired flow rate. Okay, so this is a difference in actual and isentropic process, and simultaneously we can see here stagnation properties also. Okay, now we can define this isentropic efficiency initially in terms of the stagnation property, then we can define isentropic work upon actual work. Isentropic work, to define the work we need to understand what is the supply of energy, and again it's a steady flow energy equation. Equivalent amount of work is equal to change in enthalpy also. So we can write likewise it's H02 dash minus H01 upon H02 minus H01. Okay, we are having the two core 1 to 2 and 02. What is associated enthalpy? H02, and what is associated enthalpy to 02 dash is H02 dash. Okay, because enthalpy we can define likewise. Means if you have to define the work we have to just take the difference of the enthalpy, and we know this equivalent of enthalpy is equal to work done. Okay, the basic thermodynamic principle. Again enthalpy we can write in terms of what Cp into T. So we have to just write over here Cp into T02 dash minus Cp into T01. Take the Cp common from both denominator and numerator, so we will get the Cp T02 dash minus T01 upon Cp T02 minus T01. By cancelling out the Cp we will get the isentropic efficiency based on the total body is what? Isentropic efficiency is equal to T02 dash minus T01 upon T02 minus T01. We can write on based on the static values also. So isentropic efficiency, you have to just remove the 0 from it. Notation will be the T2 dash minus T1 upon T2 minus T1. We can see over here. Okay, so T2, this is a T2 dash minus T1 upon T2 minus T1. Okay, so this is the isentropic efficiency. Now for the work done we have to again use the steady flow energy equation from the inlet of the impeller to the outlet of the impeller of the compressor, by considering that there is a no heat transfer, only work done on the system. And by the basic sign convention from this thermodynamics, we know that work input taken as a negative and work output is a positive. So here work taken we have to take as a negative, and using this equation, okay, datum head will be the constant. So z1 is equal to z2 will be constant, q is equal to 0 minus w you have to just put over here, and then h1 plus v2 square by 2 is equal to h2 plus v2 square by 2 minus w, and by simplifying we will get the equation, final equation as w is equal to cp t2 minus t1 plus v2 square minus v1 by 2. Again we have just put the h values over here, h2 is equal to cp into t2 and h1 is equal to cp into t1. How this formula got it, just refer the thermal engineering books, we will get that equation. So this is a above equation represent what work done on the impeller, okay, in terms of what temperature and velocity changes. Okay, now we have to define now remaining performance factor. The previous video already discussed about the slip, but in this case we have to define the power input factor or work input factor. Okay, in compressor to take care of this particular friction losses and turbulence losses, we have to supply extra amount of work. So you know that idler work or that work supplied to the impeller is given as per unit mass is given as VW2 into U2. Okay, but this is just only work over there. But if you consider the losses, we have to just supply extra amount of work, so we have to multiply the pi w over there. This pi w stands for power input factor or work input factor. This value usually varies from 1.09 to 1.06. okay, means that fraction we have to multiply. Okay, suppose this is a 100 kilowatt, then we have to multiply again 1.09 and 1.06, so that extra amount of work we have to supply, okay, to avoid this process. It is just simply mathematical expression. Now this is a actual work, or we can say the theoretical work. We have got this formula VW to U2 using the velocity triangle is called a theoretical work, and this theoretical work can be equal to the actual work. Actual work means what? Cp into T02 minus T01. Okay, so we can equate this one, and from this we will get the power input factor, that is actual work upon theoretical work. Okay, Cp T02 minus T01 upon VW to U2. Next, pressure coefficient. This pressure coefficient can be defined as isentropic work upon the actual work. So isentropic work Cp T02 dash minus T01 upon VW to U2. Okay. Power input factor, it's actual work upon theoretical work, and this particular pressure coefficient is equal to isentropic work upon theoretical work. Okay. This is not actual work actually. This is a printing mistake over here. This is a theoretical work. Okay. So it's a pressure coefficient, means slip factor, work input factor, pressure coefficient are the performance parameter, we can say. Okay, and along with this pressure coefficient, slip factor, work input factor and isentropic efficiency is also very important. Okay, so this we need to find out the relation between this isentropic efficiency and performance parameter. Okay, so we have to just start with this equation. The work required to compress the air is, that is actual work, Cp into T02 dash minus T01. We can just draw the TS diagram also in terms of what inlet of the impeller, this is the condition is out of the impeller in case of the stagnation properties. Then using the pressure and temperature relation from the adiabatic process, we will get some pressure ratio over here. Again by the definition of the isentropic efficiency, we will get the temperature difference T02 dash minus T01 is equal to T02 minus T01 into isentropic efficiency. We have to put this value in equation number 2. By putting the value and by defining the power input factor, again by the definition we will get the temperature difference T02 minus T01 in terms of what? Work input factor VW2, U2 and Cp. Then we know that slip factor is given as VW2 upon U2, so VW2 is equal to pi s into U2. Again the temperature difference, in the temperature difference we have to put the value of VW2, so we will get the work input factor pi w into slip factor into U2 square upon Cp. Again you have to substitute these values of T02 and T01 in equation number 3 over here. Okay, so by substituting equation number 3, that is P02 upon P01, by substituting these values we will get this equation for the P02 minus P01 as shown in the screen. Okay, then we have to define the pressure coefficient, that is isentropic work upon the actual work. Okay, T02 dash minus T01 we can put it as what? T02 minus T01 into isentropic efficiency by definition of the isentropic efficiency. Now we have to just do the substitution over here. Okay, how we can substitute? Now substituting the value of equation number 4, that is T02 minus T01 in equation number this equation, that is in pressure coefficient equation. Okay, so by simplifying this one we will get the, and assuming the radial vanes VW is equal to U2, we will get this equation, that is pressure coefficient into work input factor into slip factor into isentropic efficiency. See, this part, this much part is only for the solving the numerical sometimes, but there is no need to take these steps over here. Okay, after finding out this T02 minus T01 in terms means equation number 4, directly we can define the pressure coefficient and put this value T02 minus T01 in this equation. Okay, this T02 dash minus T01 you have to put in terms of isentropic efficiency, and this T02 minus T01 pressure temperature difference you have to put from this equation. Okay, so this is an extra step over here. Okay, don't be confused, there is no need to take these steps again. Okay, so even we don't need to take this pressure coefficient equation also, so we can practice it afterwards. So we can get the equation. The important is what? Pressure coefficient is equal to what? Work input factor into slip factor into the isentropic efficiency, which is an important one. Okay. Next topic is what? Effects of blade on the performance of the centrifugal compressor. We know that in centrifugal pump also we have studied about the radial vanes, backward curve vanes and forward vane. Similarly, vane pi is the less than 90 degree, the vane is called as a backward vane. Vane pi is 90 degree, the vane is called as radial vanes, and vane pi is more than 90 degree, it is called as a forward vanes. Now we need to understand, or we have to find it out, which vane is the efficient one for designing the centrifugal compressor. Means for which type of vane shape we need a less work input. Okay, our performance is quite better for the which type of vane. Got it? Pi is greater less than 90, pi is equal to 90, and pi is greater than 90. So we know that this capital H is equal to VW to U2. Capital H is for what? It's a net head or Euler head. Okay, we know we have to do the work in the compressor for compensating or for against this particular head. So this head H is also called as a net head VW to U2. Okay, this is called as Euler head. Now from this diagram, if you take the tan phi over here for the backward curve, if you take the tan phi, tan phi is equal to what? We have to, so if you take the tan phi is equal to what in this case? Tan phi is equal to V2 upon U2 minus VW2, and from this we will get the VW2 is equal to U2 minus V2 upon tan phi. 1 upon tan phi is equal to cot phi. So VW2 is equal to U2 minus VF2 cot phi. Okay, again VF2 we can put by using the discharge formula. Discharge is equal to Vf into A, so we can just put the Vf is equal to Q by A, so we can put the Vf2 is equal to Q by A. Okay, then H is equal to what? VW to U2, put this VW2 value in this equation. So the net head or work input is equal to what? U2 minus Q by A cot phi into U2. So the Q is the volume flow rate of air, and the area, the A is equal to what? Area of the flow at the exit. Now by assuming the constant speed of compressor means U2 is constant and constant flow area means A, we need to understand what is the relation between this H and discharge, because ultimately at outlet we are getting the discharge, and again at the expense of what head. Okay, because we are increasing the pressure head at outlet, so we need to check this relation, what is the relation between this head H and this particular Q, by putting this U2 is constant and area is constant. Now for backward curve vane, as pi is less than 90, the value of cot phi is positive. If you take any value less than 90 for cot, then it is a positive. Hence, if the cot pi is positive, if cot pi is positive and u2 is constant, the h getting decreases. Okay, so if this is a positive, means this is getting increases. If this cot pi is getting increases, q is changing, but a is constant. If the cot pi is increases, this h value is getting, the h value is getting decreases, because it is subtracting basically. So value of h is keep falling with increasing q, means work input is less for the increasing value of q. For radial curve vanes, pi is 90 degree, so cot pi is 0, hence there is a h is directly proportional to directly q, so h remain constant irrespective to the value of q. In opposite to backward curve vane, for the forward vane, when pi is 90 degree, what will happen? Cot pi is negative. If cot pi is negative, then u2 plus q by a cot pi, means h is getting increases for the q. So in the h is increasing, means work input is more for the q. From this conclusion we can say that, see, this h is equal to what? Basically y plus mx plus c. If you take this equation, if you subtract, this u2 square plus u2 q by a cot pi, then by keeping all other parameter constant, you will get the equation y, that is variation of h with respect to q, that is y plus mx plus c in terms of the straight line. Okay, and one constant c is there, that's why I have to take that h from the above the 0 axis. So we can see that curve also. Due to this constant c, we have to take this curve above the from this center, or we can say the from 0 on this y axis at some height. If this is a c is equal to 0, then the particular line origin from the straight line from directly start from this particular this point, but the origin gets shifted over here due to the constant c. And we can see for the forward vane, as the q increases, as this q increases, the h also getting increases. Radial veins, there is no change, and for the backward veins, it is getting decreases. So generally we are preferring the backward veins, means we need a flow rate over there. For the constant flow rate or for increasing flow rate, the work input getting decreases. Okay, initially the work input here. Okay, as the q increases, means as the q increases, the work input or here also getting decreases. So we will prefer what? The backward curve vanes. So generally backward curve vanes with the angle of 20 degree to 25 degree are commonly used in a centrifugal compressor. So this is the effect of the vanes on the performance of the centrifugal compressor. Next one, the pre-whirling concept. Okay, so this is a quite new to us. First of all, we need to understand what is a whirling. Whirling is the formation of eddies or rotation of the fluid particles along their own axis. This whirling component or this whirling velocity, we can say the motion of tornado, or motion of the water particle near the river bank, or motion of the water in the sink. We can, it is called as a whirling motion. Okay, so what is this pre-whirling now? So initially, sometimes what will happen, as we are dealing with the compressible fluid, that is air, sometimes Mach number is greater than 1. So at the inlet, that particular air is suddenly drawn into the suction side with Mach number 1. So it will create a shock, because we know that when Mach number is greater than 1, the type of compressible fluid is supersonic fluid and the shock wave are formed. And due to this shock wave, what will happen? Due to this shock wave, there will be some losses due to the impact or shock losses or turbulence losses. So we have to reduce this inlet suction speed of the air, and for this we have to give some initial pre-wheel, and this initial pre-wheel we can given by the introducing the fixed blade ring before the impeller. We can say just like a guide vanes in the turbines. Okay, so means we have to just reduce the VR1 component, because striking velocity of the blade is the VR1, and if you reduce the VR1, if you want to reduce the VR1, we have to reduce the V1 also. Okay, so we are just applying the pre-whirling. Pre-whirling means what? We have to provide the whirling component of velocity at the inlet side. Okay, so initially we know that there is a VW1 is equal to 0 as per the basic study, because we already studied that V1 is equal to Vf1. But now with pre-wheel, VW1 is not equal to 0, means there is a fixed guide vane. Now initially like this, we have to just change the angle of rotation such that the V1 is quite now inclined. Initially it's a 90 degree, now it is getting changed in downward direction. So V1 is now tilted. Once V1 is now tilted, the alpha angle is not 90 degree. It may be the less than 90 degree or more than 90 degree, or probably is the less than 90 degree. Okay, and a small angle is introduced over psi over here. So this psi angle is called as angle of prework. Okay, and V1 component shifted over inside this one, and we will get the VW over here. Okay, so what is the effect of pre-wheel? So we know that the work done by the impeller is what? VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1. Initially VW1 is equal to 0, so initial work is what? VW2 U2 only. But now from the figure B we can say VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1. Now VW1 is equal to not 0. It means that the pre-work reduces the compressor work by an amount of VW1 U1. So at every compressor, at inlet of the every compressor, we have to put some damper like arrangement or fixed blade to control the speed of air at the entry side. Otherwise, what will happen usually, due to the sudden suction of the air can be drawn inside the impeller with a higher speed. It will create the shock waves. Okay, and to avoid this one, the pre-whirling is very important. And the angle psi is called as what? Angle of pre-wheel, and it is equal to what? Inlet angle of the fixed guide vane. So just like the guide vane angle in the turbines, we can say there is an angle of pre-wheel over here. Okay, so this is the end of the centrifugal compressor. We are having the certain formula list over here. You may get confused with the formulas of the work done. First of all, there is a Euler work done, which is given as VW2 U2. Then is a work actual also given, CP_T2 minus T1 plus V2 square minus V1 square divided by 2. Sometimes you are just neglect this part, and sometimes you are just consider the CP_T2 minus T1. When V2 inlet velocity and outlet velocity of the air is given, then you have to use this formula, otherwise simply neglect these terms. Okay, then work done actual, we know that in stagnation properties, in terms of stagnation properties, we can take the CP_T02 minus T01, and isentropic work is given as CP_T02 minus T01. Okay, pressure ratio using the adiabatic thermodynamic process, we know that P01 upon P is equal to T0 upon T, gamma minus 1. From many times we have used this formula. Okay, then stagnation property minus stagnation temperature minus static pressure temperature is equal to V square upon 2Cp. This is we already derived. Then isentropic efficiency. Okay, then effect of blades thickness in the mass flow rate, what is the slip factor, power input factor, pressure coefficient relation between this one. This much formulae we have just discussed in the centrifugal compressor. While solving the numericals of the centrifugal compressor, we have to remember first of all which properties are given, static or stagnation. Accordingly we have to just solve the numericals. Okay, so I hope that we understood this theoretical part. Thank you students.